Everybody who has worked on this case has gone home and cried.
The lead prosecutor in the Ruby Franke case tells all, speaking with Law and Crime for the first time since these chilling videos were made public.
That girl just said she's gonna cry because she takes a look at this kid and has to walk away. This is insane. The girl in the closet, was in there for hours and hours before they could coax her out of there, because these kids inherently don't trust the police because of what the mom has told them not to trust the police, right? And when we do the Pam Botcher video a little bit, we'll figure that hopefully this week, you'll see too that these kids are like groomed to like be scared of the police, which is crazy. So yeah, you're seeing all this because it's horrific.
Washington County Attorney Eric Clark tells us the case is unlike anything he's ever seen before.
Child abuse to this degree is something that is super abnormal.
Clark.
So I'm going to say this because this is my human pleb side that doesn't know anything about the law. If you say this, if you agree that that's child abuse like this is insane, then why would you agree to not trying to put her away for longer? Like, why would you agree to say, I'm not going to step in?
Clark first heard the name Ruby Franke in summer 2023 after she and Jody Hildebrandt were arrested. But Clark quickly became familiar with both women and the gruesome ways they abused Franke's two youngest children.
Like, I don't know that any of us have ever had a case where you have someone who, in that level of detail, is cataloging their criminal acts.
Before we saw either of these mugshots, we saw Ruby Franke on her YouTube channel, 8 Passengers.
This scene that they keep showing is one of the most famous scenes. If you don't know why they keep showing the scene, it's one of the most heartbreaking scenes you've seen of abuse and her laughing at her children. In this video, and I've covered it, you go check it on my channel, she literally laughs at Chad because he says he has no friends. He can't because of the way that she parents. And the other kid on the other side, they don't have any friends. She's just laughing at them. That's it. She just sits there and laughs at them. And it's the most heartbreaking thing I've ever seen because these kids are on camera being forced to talk about everything. And this is what he was doing. I think Chad did this on purpose, and I think he did on purpose well. Honestly, I believe this. If Chad hadn't said what he said about the beanbag and all the things and saying all the stuff on the channel, I don't think we would have seen the depths of the abuse like we did. And him whistleblowing was a big deal. And she put it out there like she was all proud of it. It's crazy. Like, that's a narcissist who thinks she's right and she's not.
At one point, more than 2 million subscribers followed along with her vlog-style videos, recounting her life with husband Kevin and their 6 kids. Even then, Ruby faced some backlash for her unconventional parenting tactics.
I know that her teacher is uncomfortable with her being hungry and not having lunch, and it would ease her discomfort if I came to the school with a lunch.
So I'm not going to ease her discomfort. We covered this video too. This is one of the big ones that really, really got people upset. And it should have, because she was like basically telling this teacher, too bad she could starve. She's 5. She didn't make her lunch. Imagine being the teacher and hearing that.
But I responded and just said, Eve is responsible for making her lunches in the morning, and she actually told me she did pack a lunch. So the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry. And hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and get.
I can't believe she said that. I'm reminded now. I did the video. I hope no one gives her food. I hope she suffers. I hope that nobody displays generosity towards my daughter. I hope not. I hope she just comes home starving, so I can be like, see what happened? Remember when she pretended to cut the head off their favorite stuffed animal and she was crying? When their kid dropped her favorite plate out of the kitchen, she blamed them. Like, this woman is bananas.
It's her lunch.
But the real backlash and criminal charges came in 2023 after Ruby's youngest son reached out to a neighbor for help.
Hi, I was just wondering if you could do 2 favors.
Well, what are they?
Taking me to the nearest police station.
The then 12-year-old.
Every time I see that and the guy's like, seems annoyed at first because he's a kid, well, what are they? And then he hears, take me to the police station and can I have some water or food? And then the guy his heart breaks. And that's such a heartbreaking scene. And that scene alone right there should put Ruby in jail for 20 years plus.
Broke free from duct tape shackles around his wrists and ankles that investigators later described in great detail.
And then
Medical got there, they started cutting the stuff off him.
And it's not just the binding, it was that they treated it with like cayenne pepper and stuff like that to make it hurt more. It was, ugh.
And then you can see like the dark around his ankles, and it you could smell it, the flesh.
I don't know how police don't like get more upset, and I understand why they would. I understand why they would, but like being in this situation, I would have to I have to leave. Like I would be so upset with these people for doing this to a child. Like I don't know how they keep their composure. I mean, they're trained to, and I understand that, but damn, seeing all that.
It's underneath the tape. As soon as they took it off, you can even outside you can smell. You can smell the flesh.
At the time, the boy and his younger sister were being held in Jody's Ivins, Utah home. The emotional moments he asked for help are caught on Ring camera video, as are the moments he and his sister are finally seen by first responders.
2-2-1-5-1-2. I just had a 12-year-old boy show up here at my front door asking for help. And he's said he had just came from a neighbor's house, and he's emaciated, he's got tape around his legs, he's hungry and he's thirsty.
Need someone immediately.
You come in, my buddy. I'm a police officer. Are you going for the union? Hey. Hey, I'm Sergeant Silver. I'm going to just get a few pictures of your kid.
Ruby and Jody were arrested and eventually charged with 6 counts of aggravated child abuse.
Not enough.
Clark says his office wasn't familiar with either women and was shocked with the response the case brought. Had you ever heard of her before that?
I hadn't, and nobody who has worked on this case from the law enforcement side was aware of it that I've talked to either.
And again, that's going to play in her favor, by the way, because she doesn't have a criminal record. She was normal before all this stuff. And that, I understand sort of, and again, that's why I'm trying to like balance this. But at the same time, if you are capable of doing this, it doesn't matter if it's your first time. To me, it doesn't matter. You did it, and you admitted it, and you wrote it down. That's justice system.
So we were all kind of oblivious that we would get this media storm on this case.
Like, I could understand if justice system's like, oh, it's the first time shoplifting. Okay, well, let's, there's mitigating. Oh, it's the first time torturing a child. Well, okay, well, let's mitigate. Like, no, right? There should be a difference.
Nearly right away, Clark's team at the Washington County Attorney's Office was on the case.
So I was hearing about it probably the day after the arrests. Our special victim prosecutor team was working with officers.
Look how cocky she is when she's arrested. She's like, she honestly thought she was in this. She's like, I'm gonna get off. This is like, when they find out why I did all this stuff, they're gonna be like, well, yeah, okay, you're good to go. You can leave prison now. Like, that's what she honestly believed.
It was the day of, so they're getting calls.
The audacity of these Mormons.
They were working on warrants. We've got a crazy child abuse case. And so our office was involved that first day and having those communications back and forth with Detective Bate. But I wasn't really aware of it until the next day as we're talking about, what's going on, how are we going to handle this?
And almost right away, the case stood out.
We cover child abuse cases, right? Like, unfortunately, child abuse is something that happens in all the communities in our country. And it's something we should always be speaking out against and trying to stop. Right?
Yep.
In our office's institutional memory, we can only think of one case that is comparable to this, and that's with 15 prosecutors.
Lori Vallow?
Collective experience. Okay, so immediately this case didn't feel normal on the, whoa, this is an awful case perspective. And for better or for worse, this case was also felt different to all the people doing the investigative work, because statistically, crime occurs and is reported more often in low-income communities, right?
It's true.
It's not that often that you have, a $2 or $3 million home in a like super secluded subdivision where you're having